Hello again, brothers and sisters. Spiritual nugget of the day, Matthew 7:24-27. Therefore, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain descended, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock. But everyone who hears these sayings of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain descended, the floods came, and the winds blew, beat on that house, and it fell. And great was its fall. I chose this verse, this portion of scripture, because when I keep hearing the word rock, it reminds me of Jesus. There are many scriptures in the Old Testament and New Testament that reference Jesus as the rock. For example, this is the ESV version of Psalm 18:2. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my rock in whom I take refuge, my shield, and the horn of my salvation and stronghold. 1 Corinthians 10:4. And all drank the same spiritual drink, for they drank from the spiritual rock that followed them, and the rock was Christ. Now, when I hear this portion of scripture about building on the rock, it reminds me of building on Jesus, to build your house on a foundation which is Christ, the gospel, the good news. Any person who builds their house up on Christ, he says, I liken him to a wise man. Wise men, wise women. There's wisdom in having Christ as your foundation. Now, when you look at the Bible, you see rock. It reminds me of Jesus, the big rock. But then you have the word like God, big G, and then God's little G. So when you go over to sand, it reminds me of what is sand? A bunch of little rocks, a bunch of tiny rocks. So when I see rock, which is Jesus, and I see sands, it reminds me of idols or demons. He says here, everyone who hears these sayings of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. All them little rocks, all them little idols, all them demons, all them fallen angels, all the false doctrine. He goes here, and the rain descended, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it fell. And great was its fall. Anyone who builds their house on any other foundation but Christ, that house will fall. Great will be its fall. Your children will fall. Your children's children will fall. And it's no one else's fault but our own. What we choose to build our house up on matters. So I encourage you, brothers and sisters, liken yourself as the wise man and build your house on the foundation, which is Christ, the rock. Much love. God bless. Once again, choose wisdom over the world.